Whether you're a brand new crafter or just getting back into crafting, these helpful hacks and must-have supplies will save you time, money, and frustration. And one of my favorite hacks is how to easily clean your Gorilla Glue and E6000 bottle tips and caps so they don't get clogged. And I will find the best prices on the tools that I use, and I will list them in the description box below. So let's jump in and get started. But before we get started, this is my dog Wednesday, and take a guess of what she's looking at. If you guessed a baby deer, you're right. Talk about cuteness overload. Our first set of tools you are going to need are scissors. Now, not all scissors are created equal. You want some for paper, some for fabric, and some for fine detail cutting. So the first one obviously is going to be for paper. And you don't ever want to mix your fabric scissors with your paper scissors because it will dull your fabric scissors. So I have these scissors marked with green tape to remind me that these are only for fabric. And the next pair of scissors have a very small tip, and this is for fine detail cutting to cut around those little tiny corners. The next tool to have on hand are miter shears. And these are good for cutting thin pieces of wood. You can cut your bamboo skewers. These are pieces of wood I got from Temu. Even this thicker piece of wood, it's very good for cutting these. The one thing that crafters use a lot that I don't recommend with these miter shears are your large craft sticks. I have a hard time trimming them, and I'll show you more about this tool later on, but these are tin snips. They cut your popsicle sticks very well. You just kind of trim them like you would scissors, and it gives you a nice clean cut. And these miter shears also have a really good function. You can adjust that dial, and it will cut your wood in different angles, so that if you want to miter a corner, or you want to cut wood for a picture frame or a box, it will cut the perfect edges for corners. And it works on this thinner wood and the thicker wood as well. The next tool that I use a lot when cutting any type of metal is called tin snips. You always want to use protective gloves because when you cut any metal, it's sharp. And you can cut through wire mesh or those disposable aluminum baking pans, and it cuts all of this just like scissors. Another tool that's very helpful are pliers. Now you can get a set of small needle nose pliers at the Dollar Tree, and these are great for pulling out small items, bending wire, or picking up items that you have a hard time picking up with your fingers. This is a multi-use tool, and it's great to have on hand. Now, if you're going to be using big pieces of wood, this is going to be a step up from your miter shears. This is called a miter box and a miter saw. You are going to get your thicker pieces of wood and lay that down in there, and you can see the lines. It's going to show you how to cut straight lines and mitered corners. And all you do is put your saw in between those lines and saw your piece of wood down. This next tool is completely optional, and I did not personally buy it. This was a birthday gift for me. Anything that I cannot afford, I ask for it for birthday or Christmas. Now, it was about $50 off of Temu, and I'm showing you this as an example. This is a piece of wood that it did not want to cut through, and as you can see, I'm trying to make several passes, and the blade will seize up on you. So you might want to test certain pieces of wood before you cut it. For this next sample piece of wood, I'm using the larger Jenga block, and as you can see, it's going to cut right through it. So it all just depends on your wood. This Jenga block is actually thicker than the previous piece of wood, but it cut it perfectly. And if you're going to buy this little table saw, I would say only buy it if you've got a lot of little pieces of wood that you want to cut. Otherwise, it's really not worth it. You want to get enough use out of it. Next on our supplies to use, we're going to talk about glues. For any wood project, you are definitely going to have to use some type of wood glue. Dollar Tree sells an amazing wood glue. I'm using Aleene's wood glue, but you can get wood glue in any hardware store, Walmart's, Dollar Trees, and all you have to do is just bond both pieces, wipe off the excess, and set it aside. The next two glues that we're going to talk about that work just about the same is Gorilla Glue Clear Grip and E6000. I use the Gorilla Glue because it's rated for outdoor use on wreaths or any outdoor projects you may have. The next glue that you want to use is E6000, and it's great for bonding glass to glass and glass to plastic. This first sample is just me bonding a glass candlestick to a glass bowl. And it's also very good for bonding plastic to glass as long as you sand that plastic very well. And you maybe want to lightly sand the glass and clean it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. It's very good bonding properties for both. The only takeaway that you would have with E6000 is the bonding time. It's at least 24 hours and it's not rated for outdoor use. And we cannot talk about these glues without talking about the pain that we have when the cap gets stuck or it gets hardened and you can't push the glue out. But I have the best tip and the best fix. You want to buy 100% acetone fingernail polish remover. You want to soak the tip and the cap if they're all crusty and nasty. And then once they soak for a little while, all you got to do is get a rag, wipe it off, clean out the tip, and you're good to go. The next set of glues we are going to talk about are your crazy glues. Now I have samples of the Gorilla Glue and the Dollar Tree Fix-All and Cement. These are good for lightweight applications. I'm just going to show you, I'm going to glue this cherry on top of this rocket pop. It doesn't look the best, but it's just an example. And after every use with any of your crazy glues, you can either wipe off the nozzle with that acetone or just swish it in there for a couple seconds and dry it off. Now we are going to attach that cherry, and it stays very well once it's attached and hardens. Here's another hack you may not know about your matte Mod Podge. All you have to do is pour as much as you need in a bowl, and then you want to get any color of your food coloring or mix the colors together. Once you have those mixed together, you want to paint them on any glass surface. It only works on glass. Once you have your desired color, then I just get a sponge brush and I make sure that glass is completely coated with that color. I'm just demonstrating a small section. Once you have it completely painted, you want to put it in the oven at 200 degrees for 45 minutes. Once it's done, you want it to cool completely as it will still be very sticky, but you will get this beautiful translucent color, and this would be great for many projects, especially the holidays. The next set of tools in my crafting arsenal are your paint brushes, your sponge brushes, and your fine line paint brushes. And you can also use regular cleaning sponges instead of your foam brushes. And we can't talk about brushes without talking about paint. My favorites are Folk Art Multi-Surface or any Apple Barrel acrylic paint. I'm not a fan of Dollar Tree's paint. It doesn't cover as well. If you like them, by all means use them. Now I'm going to show you on one side what it looks like when you just use a paintbrush to cover. And then on the other side, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you use the sponge brush. And a tip when using the sponge brush, you want to do that tapping motion as it gives the most coverage. As you can see, I'm a bigger fan of the sponge brush because it takes less coats, where the paintbrush didn't cover as well. And as always, when using acrylic paint, you want to clean out your brushes each time because acrylic paint dries very quickly, and then you just want to dry your brushes off. The next paintbrush is considered a fine line paintbrush. It's wider at the base and it goes skinnier at the tip. And this is great if you want a fine line, like I'm adding the blue, but I don't want to get it on the bottom of his coat. As opposed to using a chunkier brush, it's going to get that paint all over his coat and all over that white. This is another fine tip paintbrush, and this is great for doing the extra small details and you don't want to get paint on anything else, like dotting eyes or very small crevices that you need to get. And I'm just showing you making little dots around his hat. The next paintbrush, I call it a flat head paintbrush. I'm sure there's technical names, but this is nice if you want to make a straight line. And again, this is used if you've got bigger surface area to paint, but you don't want to get the paint on the bottom of his coat. It works very well. Up next, we have this flat foam brush, and this is for stenciling. Stenciling is the bane of my existence, and I try to do it, but I'm not the best at it. But I will show you an example of two different ways to do this. So the one is lay your stencil down and you want to tape around it. Then you want to put that foam brush into some paint and you want to pounce most of it off. You don't want to have a heavy load or it's going to bleed through your stencil. And then you just want to pounce that color onto your stencil. You may need to use several light coats to get the desired look, but once you're done, remove the paint and remove the stencil. Another way to attach your stencil to your paper is to use a stencil adhesive spray. You spray it directly on your stencil and let it almost dry until it's tacky. Then attach it to your paper and then apply your paint. Once you have your desired look, then you just peel the stencil off. We also have to talk about your spray paints. Actually, this is going to be a money saver for you. If you have smaller projects, buy the Rust-Oleum white, flat white primer. Prime any of your surfaces and then apply your acrylic paint, and you'll use less paint in the long run. Now let's talk about rulers, measuring tapes, and flexible measuring tapes. Now obviously with a small ruler you can measure out small objects, and I know this is a given, but some people don't know, and this is all about beginners. This next one is a measuring tape. You use it for fabric, but this is great if you have to wrap it around items, and it's very flexible. And then the next one is your measuring tape, and that's to measure anything that's larger than your ruler. It's great to have, and I love this little mini measuring tape. This next tool is perfect for making holes into plastic, because if you pound a nail in plastic, it's going to crack it. So this is a wood burning tool. It comes with different tips if you want to do different sizes. I just use the basic tip, and then I go ahead and get a pencil or a pen, and I push it down while the plastic is still hot, and it makes the perfect circle. Please use caution. This tool gets extremely hot, and all of the plastic that's melted around there gets hot. You want to remove the excess once it's cooled. You can also use a soldering tool for this hack, but please keep in mind, this is a disclaimer, I do not know if the fumes that come off this are toxic, so I would use it in a well-ventilated area. And obviously this is a no-brainer, but the wood burning tool is also great for burning wood and making designs. You can use carbon paper and trace a design onto your wood, and then you can burn that in. The next tool I use is an iron, and this is only dedicated to my craft projects because I've gotten wax and other items on it. So a good idea is you want to spread a matte Mod Podge all over whatever project you intend to do. Allow that Mod Podge to dry, and then lay some tissue paper on top of that. That will reactivate the glue in the Mod Podge, and it'll stick right to it. Up next, let's talk about stain. I don't use store-bought stain. I cannot deal with the smell, but there's other options you can use other than stain. The two that I'm going to show you are brown paint and Waverly Antique Wax. On one side of this craft stick, I'm applying the brown paint, and all you do is apply a generous coat and then get either a paper towel or a rag and wipe it off. It's going to give you that translucent look with a little bit of color that reminds you of a stain. Next, I'm using the Waverly Wax, and I'm not sure of the color. I know it's darker than the brown paint. And I'm applying it the same way I applied the paint, just putting on a thick coat and wiping it off. And here is a comparison side by side. I really feel like they look the same. I would rather use the paint method as it's cheaper, but you let me know what you think and what you would use. Up next, let's talk about our hot glue guns. Now, I know a lot of people keep their glue guns nice and neat, but I'm not one of them because I lay them down in moss and flowers and everything else. So if you want to clean it, just heat it up and get your little silicone tool. This is a makeup tool that I got from the Dollar Tree. And once it's heated up, you can get all that gunk and yuck off of it. Just make sure you use a silicone mat to lay your glue gun down on, and this works really well. We're also going to highlight some tools. This is a multi-tool. It's pliers on one side and a wire nip on the other, or you can just use regular wire nips. And these are used great for obviously cutting wires, but you can also cut all your floral stems with it. That's my multi-tool, and this is my wire nip. We also use our silicone spatulas to protect our fingers when we are working on projects that have gaps in it. And I'm just using an example of this fake baby's breath. I just use a household silicone spatula, and all I do is I press it down until that flour adheres to the paper. And to clean the hot glue off, all you have to do is peel it off of your spatulas. Up next, we're going to talk about clamps. Clamps are great when you need to hold together two pieces of a project that kind of tend to slide off. These clamps are from the Dollar Tree, and these black clamps are from Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's the best place to get your craft supplies. They're very reasonable. So this big one is for thicker, bigger projects. If you don't have clamps on hand, you can use duct tape or painter's tape as long as the project is light and small. So if we're joining these two pieces, all you've got to do is just place that tape around your project and make sure it's where you want it until the glue dries. Another tape that I use is the black electrical tape. And the reason for it is when you are wanting to tape to make spirals or you need a flexible tape, this is the one to use. I'm just showing you I'm making a spiral around this wood cup. It doesn't gap or wrinkle or pucker like painter's tape. Another great tape to use, and Dollar Tree sells a great double-sided clear tape. And this is only for lightweight applications. I'm using one of the Dollar Tree plastic tablecloths. The hardest part of double-sided tape is pulling the paper off of the tape. And once you have that paper removed, I apply the tablecloth to it. You can also use paper, anything lightweight, plastic, shower curtains would work great as well. I really wouldn't use fabric, but some other lighter weight material will work for this. And you'll see when I try to pull this off, it's got a very good bond, believe it or not. And last but not least in my craft arsenal are your craft sticks. These are the jumbo craft sticks you can buy from Walmart. They come in every size, shape, and color. And I have used these for many, many projects. These are the wood slats in this basket that I made. And I'm also going to show you the wood dowel rods that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I used it as the top part of the handle of this basket that I created. Some other wood pieces that you can use as supports in your craft project are the bamboo skewers from the Dollar Tree. These are also some type of wood slat that I got off of Temu. Paint stir sticks work amazing, and also your Jenga blocks, either the original Jenga blocks or the Dollar Tree. Please remember, if you enjoy this video, hit a like, subscribe, and always comment. Thank you so much.